November 30th, 2022. This was the date that changed your life forever. It was the date that ChatGPT was released to the world. And only 5 days later, they acquired 1 million users. Now, this is a milestone that so many of these tech companies have failed to achieve. So it's evident that it's a tool that has been and is going to continue to revolutionize how we live our daily lives. Now, for those of you that may or may not remember, the weeks following this release and the months even, our TikTok pages, our Instagram, our YouTube content was flooded with people telling you how you can become rich using AI and using ChatGPT. Now, the reality is, so many of these people who were teaching us how to become financially free using ChatGPT are not financially free themselves. And so many of us who consumed that content, who followed their advice, are still not financially free. Now, why is that? Why is it that this revolutionary tool that came and, attracted the attention of so many people has been unable to take people to financial freedom? Now, the answer is very, very simple. And the answer lies in the following word: scale. What do I mean by that? Let's just first start off with the advice that people were giving when ChatGPT first came out. The advice is something along the lines of, there's this new tool, it's great, it does this and that humans can't even do, and you're about to make a whole load of money. Now, there are elements of truth in these statements. I'll give you an example. If you are a freelancer who does content creation for a company, or you're someone that writes up reports for a company about current events or whatever the case may be, and you're now introduced to a tool who is promising to deliver the work to the same or even better standard at a smaller time frame, you start to think, okay, well, what this now means for me is I can take on more work. What used to take me 2 to 3 days to complete will now only take me a couple of hours, if that. So what does that mean? I can take on more clients and I can become financially free. But there's a flaw in that way of thinking, and I'll explain why. Suppose you do actually manage to land more contracts as a result of ChatGPT. What does that mean? That means more money. So why am I even talking about this? How do I make any sense if I've just disproved what I'm talking about? The answer is the fact that you only have 24 hours in a day. So yes, you can take on more jobs, get paid 3x or 4x, whatever you're getting paid now, but you won't actually get a true taste of what financial freedom really is. True financial freedom is when you're not bound by time or space. You can go holiday when you want. You can spend time with your family when you want. You could have a lazy day just because you feel like it when you want. That is financial freedom. So the reason why a lot of people who have consumed this sort of content, and even people who are delivering the content about how to use ChatGPT to give you financial freedom, they themselves have not achieved financial freedom. So even though you're able to take on more work because of ChatGPT and it does your work a lot faster and you can take on more contracts, you're still bound by time. There's a cap in how much money you can actually make. Why? Because there's only so many hours in a day that you have. And in order for you to really taste what financial freedom is using AI, you need to build systems. Now, what do I mean by systems? I'll give you an example. The people that have actually become financially free as a result of using AI, they've built apps, they've built tools, they've built websites. And these websites provide value to individuals or businesses. Suppose in the midst of this AI craze, and by the way, we're still in this midst, and a lot of people are still making money with AI, and a lot of people are going to continue making a lot of money in AI. So the phase or this hype is not yet over by any means whatsoever. But suppose you actually built a tool online and you charged $15 a month for this. Now, it takes you no less effort and no less time to cater to one user paying $15 a month or 1,000 people each paying $15 a month, making you $15,000. Now, what you can see and what you can probably realize and recognize is there's no cap or limit as to how much money you can make in this instance. If you were taking on more jobs and you were interviewing and you were proving your worth and you had to have meetings with people showing them that your work is correct, you're bound by time. And there's only so much work that you can do. But when you build systems and you build apps and you build tools that benefits individuals and businesses, provided it's built correctly with the correct infrastructure, then you don't actually have a cap as to how much money you can make. You do start to get a taste of what financial freedom really is. You're still going to get your monthly income when these individuals that are using your app are getting charged. Whether you're here in the UK or in the US or in the Maldives or wherever you may be, you're still making that money. You can spend time with your family. You can have your lazy day. You don't have to sit down and have a conversation or a meeting about your work and, they might give you feedback and this needs to be changed and that needs to be changed. Can you see the difference between building a system and exchanging your time for money? That is the biggest difference between people that actually made and continue to make and will make money in AI compared to people who, yes, made more money, but were restricted in terms of what they can do. Think of money as freedom tokens. You don't want to make more money if you can't do the things that you want to do. And so this has been a very key theme and a consistent theme that I continue to see online about people giving advice about how to become financially free using AI. Now, for those of you watching this video and you want to build systems because you understand the importance of doing so over actually taking on more work, then some of you may be able to code and you may be thinking, right, well, I'm going to get started on something right now. Some of you may be thinking, I don't know how to code. If I'm someone that doesn't know how to code, what should I do? So I'm going to be telling you, as someone who doesn't code themselves, has built multiple businesses in and outside of AI. The first piece of advice that I would give to someone that doesn't know how to code but really wants to make money in AI is utilize the network that you have. So what do I mean by that? Ask yourself, in your surroundings, what technical people do I know? Do I have any friends or family that know how to code or can at least guide me in doing the correct things and putting the right things in place for me to have a website or an app that is leveraging AI? The reason why I say this is because you would genuinely be surprised about how much technical knowledge that you have around you and people that are willing to help you out. And in a lot of cases, you can actually get these people involved in the project because when people are involved in something, they do give it more serious time. And so that is something that you could potentially look into. Now, one piece of advice off the back of that is this friend or these friends that you get involved into your project that you want to build, they need to be very, very reliable friends. Now, I have friends that I really enjoy being around and I know I can spend so many days and weeks with them and not get bored. But when it comes to actually building businesses with them, I don't know if I can rely on them in delivering things on time. And so you need to really, really pick the correct people to work with you. Now, if you're someone that doesn't know how to code and you have no one around you that knows how to code and you just don't know what to do, you've got, a job that you're currently working in at the moment, the next thing I would advise you to do is to hire people. Now, this sounds crazy and it sounds scary. And it was for me as well. The reason why it sounds scary is because we have this thing in our minds that in order for you to be able to hire someone and, pay for their livelihoods, you have to have a lot of money or you have to borrow some money from people and you don't like to borrow. This is a misconception. Whilst this is the case for a lot of people, the reason why this is the case for people in the first place is because they pay very average programmers that are based here in the West as opposed to paying for very top quality candidates based in countries like India, Pakistan, or South America. There are so many people around the world who are so talented who don't actually charge you much for what you want to build. And so I myself have built businesses when I was on just a $20,000 salary. Now, this would never have been a possibility if I went and asked people in the West to build companies for me. They would absolutely destroy my pocket. So those are the two advices, if that's a word, I think it is a word, that I would give to people who don't know how to code, who really want to make money in AI. Because I myself, as I said, I don't know how to actually build apps myself. And I have built businesses that continue to generate money without myself actually having to give up more of my time. Now, the reason why I didn't start building businesses much earlier was because I used to think I needed to be the best at designing and coding and marketing. The truth is, guys, you don't have to be the best at any of these things. You just have to have a general understanding of things and then be able to delegate the more difficult parts to the experts. And that's essentially what hiring is. Now, I'm not sure I've actually even mentioned this in the past, But there have been times where I have coordinated meetings between a programmer and someone that specializes in ads, and I am just basically there making sure that they're communicating and they're extracting the right information that they need in order for the business or the tool to do well for itself. I had no idea what they were talking about, genuinely, guys. And so you need to understand, you don't have to be an expert to understand everything that's going on, but what you need to understand is you're that coordinator. You're someone that has a mission. You are going to get people in a room or virtually in this day and age to have the conversations, to communicate with one another in order for you to achieve your mission. You're not going to get there alone. No one gets there alone. And so when you admit that and you come to realize that, it does take a lot of weight off of your shoulders. As we've spoken about AI in this video, how to actually leverage it to make you money, how not to use it if you want to achieve financial freedom, how to actually build something if you don't know how to code within AI. The final thing I wanted to speak about is potentially some ideas that you could go ahead and build for yourself. So one of the things that I saw when ChatGPT first came out was this whole thing of therapy and AI. Now, there are certain parts that might be a bit more difficult to build in this instance just because of regulation. Make sure that the AI is trained well enough that it doesn't just tell people to do things that will cause damage to them. But besides from that, a lot of people can't afford therapy. A lot of people are on waiting lists in the NHS because they want someone to speak to. And so if you could build an AI that essentially gives sort of comforting words or comforting advices to people, even if this is like a first-time project for you to just get comfortable with, that is something that you could potentially explore. The second app idea, if you will, is AI and fitness. Potentially building apps whereby you can look at, how many steps people are taking in a day or in a week or in a month. How does that compare to the previous week or the previous month? Looking at the types of food that people are eating. Essentially having AI to be that sort of accountability buddy, whether it's in fitness or therapy or whatever the case may be, and charging a recurring monthly subscription. This is something you want to explore. This is something that you want to look into as opposed to taking on more contracts. And I think that's pretty much it for this video. If there's anything that you feel I didn't explain properly or you want more explanation for, then do let me know in the comments down below or just send me a message on Instagram. And let me know, guys, what you want in the following subsequent videos, because I only tailor my video content around what people want. And with that being said, take care of your girls. Take care of your girls. And with that being said, that's a wrap.